What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the big thing. There's a lot going on, man. The Last of Us, that debuted. That's a big show. Did pretty well last night. A lot of people buzzing about it. Understandably so. Avatar, talking about buzz. That movie's buzzing all the way to $2 billion. It's going to make $2 billion. People didn't even think it was going to make $1 billion. I don't know who. You don't doubt James Cameron. Well, clearly, $2 billion on the way. That's how much a guarantee. I think it's like 1.9 right now. So that'll happen. And then you got some other stuff happening. You got Avatar. There's going to be some new tribes that are coming out in the next one. That'll happen as well. Mandalorian's getting a new trailer. That's going to happen tonight. That'll drop. There's some other news that is out and about in the world of entertainment. We're going to talk about all of it today on The Big Thing. So if you haven't been here before, do me a favor and subscribe. This is our long form show. We got 4 of them. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All happening. So we hope that you subscribe. If you haven't already, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found, please help us out over there and go to the feeds. Obviously, patreon.com/thebigthingshow. Lots of stuff happening on there, whether it's rewatches. We're doing a rewatch of Ant-Man. That's going to be pretty great. Myself, Coy, and Winston are going to be doing that. Ant-Man 1 and 2, but 2 will be February. And then the merch. If you have already gotten yourself a Big Thing shirt, a Show Some Class shirt, the Top Gun guy, and then we have 2 more designs. You don't know shit? That's a fun one to wear. Just walking around and someone that, you're going over somebody's house that they don't know shit. And they just talk a lot. You just puff your chest out at them. Not even have to say a word. And then the Black Knight. If you are part of Capes and Cows and you watch Capes and Cows, then you know. If you don't, it's just a cool design. So, and thank you. Big shout out to Nozette for designing those. So that's it, everybody. That's the beginning of the show, and let's get to it. It's the big thing. It's me. It's you. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. 'Tis the big thing. What is the big thing? What is it? What's the big thing today? And there's a lot of it. There is a lot of it. Man, that show was pretty awesome last night. I'm not going to spoil The Last of Us for anybody today because I have a full spoiler review. I have a full playlist for The Last of Us. But we'll talk about it in general, what this means, and just video game adaptations in general, and what it means about for the video game business. I think a lot, if handled correctly. Avatar, you can talk about that, man. You can talk about how that poster, I'm thinking about the Mandalorian, the Avatar. It's amazing how much money that it made. It's crazy. It's crazy how it's continuing to make more. It won the box office. Megan's doing very well also. I don't want to take that away. The Critics' Choice Awards were last night. Get into that. I could have went last night. I didn't go, guys. Why didn't I go? Because I was watching Last of Us. You could have watched it later. I could have. But I didn't. And why didn't I? Well, I wanted to get the review out. I wanted to do everything too, and I'll go next year. Or this year? No, next year. Yeah, that would make sense. But we'll talk about the winners. We'll talk about what the hell that means for Oscars and whatnot. Before we get going, I've told you many times about Carbon Health. And you guys know, if you've been watching the Monday show, then you're very familiar with Carbon Health. And hopefully just put it in your mind. So if you ever need Carbon Health, you know it's out there. Because it's got over 120 locations that handle urgent care, COVID, RSV, flu testing, vaccinations. But what people need to be looking into is how they're expanding the primary care services that also include connected health. And if you don't know what connected health is, it's the idea that our health isn't just about our bodies, but it's about our mind. And Carbon Health providers come connected with mental health specialists as well. Carbon Health will be expanding their primary care services in this year of 2023. So if you're in Massachusetts, you're going to be able to access the connected care, since it's now expanded from California all the way to Massachusetts. Carbon Health. It's an excellent urgent care and testing center, but don't sleep on their primary care services. We're so excited to continually work with Carbon Health. We've been with them for a while, since the Schmodown back in 2021, and we started working with them on the big thing, and we're super excited to do so. All right, everybody, let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these stories, because there's a lot of stories. Let's just talk about Last of Us. Let's do it. Let's get right into Last of Us and talk about what does it mean overall, There's so much that it means. First of all, people are talking about how much it's just like a pair-on adaptation. And then there's some talk about what the goals are for season 2, and this is from Dark Horizons. Said it premiered last night. It's a series that has been praised for the quality and faithfulness of the adaptation of the iconic video game, and one that sets a standard that every future adaptation of a game will be compared to. And that's ultimately what we're going to talk about on today's show. So how did the show's makers avoid the trap that has plagued almost every other video game adaptation for the screen to date? And one of the obvious advantages is that the developer Naughty Dog's game is highly cinematic in the first place, with plenty of cinematic cutscenes, character-centric work, and an emotional storyline. Another is that the game is strong enough to stand on its own without the action gameplay elements. Even some of the more cinematic games of the past 20 years, from BioShock to Mass Effect to Uncharted, are still games centered around their gameplay despite all the world building and character development. That's less the case with Last of Us, according to the co-creator, Craig Mazin, who is a regular gamer and a massive fan of the title. Thus, they could avoid the mistake of trying to replace the way that the game is played within the series. And this is what he says to Variety. It's the mistake other people have made. I think an adaptation of video games because they think that's what connects people to a game. But The Last of Us, more than any other video game I've ever played, connected me to character and relationship. And the relationship between Joel and Ellie was the thing that we wanted to pull through the most. Co-creator Neil Druckmann, who is also a director of the game, says a series also has to adapt between the experience of actively playing a game and passively watching a scripted TV series, which results in different emotional experiences. As a result, a lot of the more action-oriented elements were removed. There are different kinds of emotions you could draw from the player through an interactive space where they swing the camera to how they're approaching the obstacle in front of them. When you're playing these sequences, that immersion really makes you connect with the player you're controlling. Everything is seen through their perspective. If we were to shoot those sequences as is, they would make for a pretty boring action sequence. So one of the easiest decisions we made was to say, let's strip all those out. Let's only have as much violence in the story as is required and no more. That allows the violence to have even more impact when you see it on screen than in the game. So there's a lot that goes into it in general. There's a lot of different comments and the breakdown. And the good news is that it just seems like these guys get it. Like they understand. And I think that the biggest thing, and again, we don't have to go into, I have a full spoiler breakdown of the episode last night, but I think it's a bigger discussion of what video game adaptations in general should do, could do. And I don't disagree, obviously, that one of the things is that a lot of times they focus on like the video game play, but I think even less than that. I think what you've seen in a lot of these different adaptations that have failed miserably was the fact that what they try to do all the time is they try to, well, this is cool. They're not going to care as much about the story they already played. They want to see these characters and they want to see them expand in new stories. No, they want to see the story that they fell in love with when they're playing the game come to life in live action. That's what they want to see. That's what we want to see. That's what everyone wants to see. And it's not saying you can't add to stuff because they did that in Last of Us. They add things that, and I also look at it like, you look at a remake like Cinderella, right? Cinderella is to me one of the best remakes of a Disney classic property so far, because not only do they have a lot of the stuff that made Cinderella, but they added some stuff that also added to the story and developed the character stronger. And why I think that's also relevant is because it's something that they did with Last of Us. Like, so what I noticed, because I went back and I watched some of the story play through the game of the stuff that I didn't, not stuff that I wanted, that I haven't seen yet in the show, stuff that I already saw and I wanted to compare it. And they open up the game with a conversation, and again, I'm not spoiling anything for anybody. They just open up the conversation with two characters on the couch. But they develop that relationship between those two characters in the show way more than what they do in the game. You still get an impact, obviously strong impact from the game, but I think they add a little bit to it, and it doesn't take away by adding stuff that the characters wouldn't do. It's just a little bit more information. And I think that that's an okay thing to do, and I think that that's, as long as it's based, and it's still the same story that people fell in love with. And I know that I've used this so many times already and that I'm blue in the face, but I have to bring it up again because it's just one of these things that anybody who's doing a video game adaptation should be looking at. And I always look at whether it's Lord of the Rings, and I know they changed stuff significantly for Lord of the Rings, but Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. Now, when you watch Game of Thrones, the stuff that everybody who really loved those shows, like when the most unified that fan base had been is when it was following the books. That's when it was the most beloved by everybody. And you look at the famous red wedding scene, which I bring up all the time. All the book readers knew it was coming, and they were waiting to see how people were going to react to it. They were waiting to see how it was, for lack of a better word, executed on screen. And they were looking at all that, and they were saying, oh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be fun. How is this going to come to life? And for some reason, producers and all the writers have for years, many problems with video games, but for years decided, no, they've done that already. Let's change it up now. Uncharted, let's change it up dramatically. Let's start with him as a young kid. Let's not start where everybody fell in love with him in that first movie. And let's just combine everything into one movie, into 2 hours, and pack it in. They'll love that. Halo, oh, everybody, you loved everything about that. No, this is we're not going to pay attention to anything that happened in that first game. We're just going to take Master Chief, and in this, he's in a totally different story completely. It's like what a lot of these things have done it. Whether it's and I got a producer friend who's on who's on the Hitman films. Now, to be fair to him, he is I think he was doing movies because the streaming hadn't blown up the way it had. I'd love to see a Hitman series, but take it from the game. Take it from the actual story of the game. People use Arcane as an example of another great adaptation. I loved Arcane. I loved it. It was one of the best things I've seen in a very long time. But I also went back and looked at some of the gameplay. There's not a lot of story that's combined to it as much as the characters. I mean, like a proper through line through all. There's a lot of character details, but it's not like a through line in a story the way there's, like, say, The Last of Us. I know they're doing God of War, which they're going to be doing as a series. I hope that they stick to the actual story itself. It gives you so much more to do. It gives you so much more material. Like, change some stuff up a little bit. But the hardcore fans, like, look at the hardcore fans. I have not seen, the one comment I have not seen at all is, I've seen this already. I played it already. I don't need to watch it on live action. No thanks. Maybe that's a reason for somebody watching the show, but people who watch the show are watching it for a reason, to see it all kind of come together. I have seen some people going, yeah, it was nice to see the shots and all that, but I got to be a little bit more invested. And some people thought Tess was a little different than in the game. And I don't have anything to compare to, except I am learning about these characters for the first time, going back and watching the video game play after I've already seen it, because I don't want to be spoiled. But from what it seems like it is the most detailed representation of a story that people love, because people are going to lose their minds if you change it. It's happened so many times over. Like Max Payne. I remember going to see Max Payne, and they butchered that movie. And goes to the further point of this. For video game, especially long, detailed video games like this, you stop with the movies. You just can't. It's just too hard to do. Like a movie like Pokemon, that's Super Mario Brothers. Sure, movies like that, absolutely. Long, detailed story games like something like this for people who watched this show last night, and I can even tell you, even from not playing the game, it would have been a tragedy if they tried to make this a 2-hour movie. The opening sequence is 45 minutes. It's like to get into everything. It's 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes. And, it was an hour and a half pilot or whatever it was. So everything that happens in episode 1, I thought was very relevant. If they would have cut out the majority of that to make it a 2-hour or 2-hour and 15-minute movie, you would have lost so much. And that's what's happened to all of these really good games over the years. Is they said, well, we need to make enough money in the theater. And what we also need to do is there's only so much story we can put into it, because we need that big set piece at the very end, because that's why people go to the movies. And that's not untrue. When you want to see, when you go to a big blockbuster movie, you want to see the big stuff happen for sure, but not at the expense of the story that made it, great. And that's what has happened to the majority of these movies. Like when it comes to, you look at comic book movies, you can take essence of comic books and a lot of stuff that there's bits and pieces, and taking the elements of the characters and making the origin story and combining it. You don't lose stuff because it's stuff that's taken throughout the years, and it makes sense, right? There's adaptations of books that you can, and even so, though, I'll tell you what, like books to me like this is why streaming has just changed the game. You guys know how long I've been talking about streaming, and that it just allows so much more breathing room for characters, for everything. And I get it. There are movies that you just want to go to and watch on the big screen. Now, something that I think that is doing it really well is Dune. And even though this moron, me, when I did my most anticipated list, if I had $1 for every person going, wait, Dune Part 2? You love the first one. How come it's not on your list? Because my stupid ass thought it came out next year for some reason. It's my number 2 most anticipated movie, for sure. Right underneath Indiana Jones. But it's doing it really, really well, because not only are they adapting, that the book into this big ass book into 2.5 hour movies, they're also making a series, which I think comes out before. I think it's a prequel. I'm not sure. And that's exploring the world and all that stuff too. So I think that there's ways to do both. But if you take like a big ass book that it makes sense to split it into 2, then I get that as well. But the video games, man, I do hope that this starts to be a trend, and I hope that streaming services start picking up these games, and it becomes more of a thing. Let's make, like, imagine, and it's tough too, because I still don't understand how it all works with profit on streaming, right? The amount of money you spend on a series, like how do you make that back? You know how you make it back in the movies, that makes the most sense. You put a lot of money into it, you get a lot of money back opening weekend and for the full box office, and then okay, well, that made sense to put that kind of money into it. I still don't understand all the details that goes into the streaming success, not success, worth the money. Put it in there. This is how much we're going to spend this year on this particular series. We need to make this amount in subscribers and merch and all that kind of shit. I don't know. But what I'll say is what I hope happens with like Sony, because Sony is able to sell anywhere they want. I hope Sony sells Uncharted. And I think that it's going to be harder to do right now, because the argument that Sony could make is, yeah, well, the Uncharted movie did really well. I saw it on a lot of people's like worst lists. I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was a fun movie to watch in the theater. I'm an Uncharted fan. The games, that game I did play, and I would have much rather seen it as, and I like Tom Holland, but I would have rather seen it start with an older Nathan Drake and build off of who he was, learn the character a little bit more, do that kind of, Indiana Jones type adventure, and put it like as a series, and then have that full mission for the first game. Just be you already have what, 4 seasons. So I thought that was I would say a misstep, but they would say, yeah, well, look how much money the movie made. And I like Wahlberg, but I still think that Sully casting is probably some of the worst casting in a long time. And not because of the performance. Performance was fine. It was just a different character. I don't care if they gave him a mustache at the end of the movie. Didn't work. But the movie was fun enough, but it wasn't the game, and it took away from what made that game so special. It was so fun. It did, and I think that there are tons of other examples that are far worse than Uncharted. I'll tell you that right now. I always bring up the Max Payne movie. Like Max Payne, I loved playing that game. When I was a kid, and then it turned into, it's poor Mark Wahlberg, but that movie was just not good. Would love to see that as a series. Very curious how this God of War thing is going to go. I'm curious what you guys think. Go ahead and comment and let me know. What do you think is the way to go? Can they do big story games into 2-hour movies? Because we know I'm not calling for every video game of all time to be put into a series. Who is this? You know what I'm gonna do? I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna see. Hello.
Hi, I was looking to speak to owner 901.
Who?
The owner of 901 Salon.
No, it's the wrong number.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You have a wonderful day.
That's okay. See, I was gonna be a douche. I was gonna be a douche. And I was gonna like play with them a little bit, but the lady dialed the wrong number. What am I gonna do? What are you gonna do? Nobody knows. All right, let's move on. Avatar, Megan, they all crushed. All did really good. It's look for what, and this is what we said. This is the reason why Avatar was going to make so much money. There's no competition right now until Ant-Man comes out. It made another $31 million domestically. Megan made another $17 million. Megan has made almost $100 million worldwide, and the movie couldn't have cost that much to make. What was that budget? That Megan budget couldn't have been. I'm going to say $40 million. What do you guys guess? As I'm looking it up, I want you to guess. Oh, I'm way off. It was $12 million. That's a massive profit. It already made $100 million worldwide. So look at that. That's incredible. Good for that movie. I didn't love it, but a lot of people loved it. But that's what Blumhouse does, man. That's what Blumhouse does. Avatar has now made 31.1. It has made domestically $570 million. It has made $1.3 billion international. It has made a total of $1.91 billion so far. So it is, you're looking at another. It's going to take another week or two to get to $2 billion, but it's going to rule for a little bit. Avatar is expected once again, or at this point, it's the top of the box office for a fifth weekend in a row over the Martin Luther King holiday. Happy holiday to everybody, by the way. In the U.S., with the film tracking for a 27 to 28 million domestic haul for the 3-day and 35 million haul for the 4-day. The film will hit 566 million by the end of Monday, passing The Dark Knight and the live-action The Lion King to become the 13th highest-grossing movie of all time domestically. The film will retain all the premium format cinema again this weekend, not really giving any of them up until M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin arrives February 3rd. That's not even going to be too much of a competition for that movie, I don't think. Megan takes second place. Universal's Puss in Boots. Tom Hanks' A Man Called Otto doing okay, looking to beat its 4-day expectation. It's on target to make 11 to 12 million for the 4-day. So that's it. But what can you say except that the movie's a juggernaut? I mean, it really is. It's just one of those movies. And as people were saying up top, and I was one of the people saying, I'm curious to see how many people are going to want to return to see, Avatar, because it's been so long. But I also followed that up with don't doubt James Cameron. The guy just doesn't miss. He just doesn't miss. Every time he puts a movie out, it makes $1 billion or $2 billion. So it's like, how do you doubt that guy? How can you doubt him? He's just, and now what I have seen is that people who really didn't, who I shouldn't say really didn't, but some people who didn't like the first one, who wind up liking the second one, went into that going, look, I'm going to see the second movie, but I don't know if I want to go, and definitely don't know if I want to see a third one. And then I've heard those same people say, hey, that second movie was good. I can't wait to go back and see the third one. It got people excited for it again. And I really liked the first one a lot, and I love the second one. So I think that I can't wait for the third one, and there's going to be more of a less of a break leading into the next film. And speaking of the next film, James Cameron was talking to somebody, and he's it's going to overtake Spider-Man No Way Home pretty soon at the worldwide box office, and it's still going strong in the fifth week of release. At the $2 billion, as it draws near, Cameron has once again briefly teased the already shot third installment, which will arrive at screens in 2024. A few weeks back, he indicated the first hints about the third, saying that we'd meet the Ash People, which is a new Na'vi culture that may be the most brutal and nastiest of the clans living in Pandora's biosphere, and they are tied with fire, which could indicate a volcanic setting of some kind. And he was at the Critics' Choice Awards. Cameron confirmed to Deadline that the element of fire plays a big part in the next one, and adds that the two new Na'vi cultures would be introduced. Fire has a symbolic purpose in the film, and there's a culture that is specifically around that concept. That's probably saying too much as we speak. You're going to meet two completely new cultures in the next film. We met the Jungle Tribe, we met the Ocean Tribe, and now you're going to meet 2 new cultures in the next film. And it kind of rove a little more freely around the world of Pandora to different places. He adds that the next film is a rocket sled in terms of where it goes. Jack Champion, who plays Spider in the film, was also in attendance and promised that his character would face even more inner turmoil and conflict. All right, there's a lot to take from that. I mean, there really is. There's a lot to take from that. The first part is, I'm glad that they're introducing a new tribe and the most vicious, and I hope that they become a threat to Sully and the water crew as well, because as much as the humans are nasty and they've done a lot of nasty shit, I want to see a threat within each other. Everybody's always kumbaya, and they fight a little bit with each other, but I want to see like a full war between the Na'vi. That'd be awesome. And the fire people are like, screw this. Look what you guys have been doing. You've been messing up shit left and right. I mean, you got these humans coming. Stay out of our way. Humans come over, I'll stick a fireball up their ass pipe. You guys get lost, Waterface and Treehead. We're gonna do our thing, and they have a big battle. Be great. And then as far as Spider goes, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that he didn't do a full-on heel turn in the movie. But if it happens eventually, as you lead up to it, I'm down. Because it's like the turmoil that he's going through is pretty. I thought they set it up nicely. So I'm on board for Avatar 3, and that goes now as I pitch it back to you guys. Where do you stand on Avatar? Avatar 2, did you love it? Or we're getting to a point now, though, however, where we are now, we're getting to that point now that it's made $2 billion. Now the shift will come because a lot of people who went to see it in the theater were all on board with it, and people loved it and said, even the people who didn't like the first one said it was better. Now we're getting to a point it's so successful that the wave of hate of hating something because it's popular is about to happen. Now, I'm not telling you that if you had a legit criticism and you didn't like the movie that you're not being legitimate. Of course, that's true, possible, whatever. I'm just saying that it also turns into a narrative of like, once things very, very popular. I saw it with Spider-Man No Way Home after a while. I saw it with The Dark Knight. So who said that about Dark Knight? I saw that a lot with The Dark Knight, especially Dark Knight Rises. Like, Dark Knight's beloved, but after it was overrated. Heath Ledger wasn't that good. And I know universally that's not the case. I'm just telling you that I have seen it in comments before. Way more so with like Avatar and other movies. But I'm just saying, once something is very, very popular, people hate on it. It's just part of it. It's just part of how it goes, unfortunately. All right, before we move on, Manscaped, it now sells beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. You can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com. Manscaped.com and use that code BIGTHING and you get 20% off and free shipping. I love it. I love it. And I'm growing my beard out, man. Starting to try as you get a little older. I finally get a little. It takes me forever. I mean, Brett shaves and he's got a beard by tomorrow, but I gotta take time with mine. And in order to do it, I got Manscaped now. I'm so happy to be with them. No one wants a weird beard. Say goodbye to all your stubble trouble with Manscaped, and it's got that Pro Beard Kit, man. You get that Beard Hedger, and it's like a juggernaut of fixing faces. It's got that cordless trimmer and a rotary wheel, and it gives you 20 positions of precision, all with one guard. It's awesome. It's really good. I really love this stuff. I mean, you guys know, I've been talking about Manscaped for like 3 years now. So happy that they're with us. They're the best. This Beard Kit, by the way, it comes with 3 free gifts. It's got a beard brush, it's got a comb, it's got scissors, and it just ensures that your beard is ready to impress. Just make it easy for yourselves. 20% off, free shipping with the code BIGTHING at manscaped.com. 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use that code BIGTHING. It's the best. That's that Beard Hedger. 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. I'm telling you, man, first of all, thank you to Manscaped. Really love them. They're the best. But and if you've asked before, I will tell you again, how do I help the show? How do I help your show? I love your show. It makes me laugh. I like to do this. It entertains us. Is there anything I can do? Well, commenting, liking, that always helps. Picking up one of those shirts, absolutely. But helping yourself and getting something like Manscaped, because you're going to go to the store and you're going to buy yourself some kind of, lame razor because it's going to cut the cost. It's going to cut your face. You've tried Manscaped and you've never tried it before, I guarantee you're going to love it. And you're going to go, oh my God, I'll never go back. So check it out. Use that code. Who doesn't want 20% off? Use that code. Big thing. At manscaped.com. Okay. It'll be a shorter show today, but I still want to get into a few other things. I got to show you this this poster, man. All right, check out this poster for Mandalorian. There's talk about the this trailer is going to come out tonight, a longer trailer, and a brand new poster has been revealed for the Mandalorians. This is from IGN. Brand new poster has been revealed for the Mandalorian's third season ahead of its trailer debut during NFL's wildcard game between the Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can see the poster below, and you can see it there. It's right in front of your face. And it's going to be revealed, the trailer will be revealed tonight. And this poster was revealed by Star Wars Twitter account, and it features Grogu and Mando together in the middle of a battle, and Mando is using his jetpack to escape an explosion or a fire of some sort. While his cape appears to have taken some damage, he's got a firm grip on Grogu, and that is keeping him safe. Let's say the series comes out on March 1st. They could very well be right that this is in the middle of a battle that we're going to see, and that Grogu's going to be under duress again, and Mandalorian's going to save him, and they're going to get the hell of a battle. I'm probably guaranteeing that that's going to happen once or 5 times during the season. Is this particular shot from that battle, or is it just really cool art? Also possible. But either way, it's like, I can't wait to find out more inside of this trailer tonight, and I will be doing a reaction of it. So you guys can check it out on the channel tonight. If you're listening on audio, just make sure you come by the channel and look up for the reaction, because I'll be doing it. I think it's gonna. I mean, it looks like, and I'm trying to get Katie Sackhoff in here before the show airs, and then I'm trying to get her in afterwards, because she's not going to be able to tell me anything beforehand, but I still want to get her in here, and let's see what we can talk about before it starts. And then obviously we can spoil the shit out of it once the whole series is aired. So I was texting with her back and forth the other day, and she said she's working on trying to come in for both. We'll see. She's going to be, that's why I'm trying to get her in now, because I know she's going to be slammed once this thing comes in, because what it looks like in the trailer, and we'll find out more tonight, but it looks like she's going to have a pretty prominent role this season. It's my buddy, so I'm excited for her, but I also think it's a badass character. And I forgot to mention her in my spoiler review, Last of Us. The same character, there's a character inside of the show that also voiced the character in the game, and you don't see it often, and you don't see the voices from whether it's animation or the games kind of transfer over. And the other person I thought of right away was Katie, because there was something that popped up on Clone Wars, and Katie's been voicing Bo-Katan forever, and what a run that she's had with this character, and to see it now go where it's going. Now I wonder, Katie can play a villain too. I'm not saying that Bo-Katan's a villain right now, but we've seen her kind of, edge to the other side in the Clone Wars. Does she go back to that side? Does she go back to wanting that dark saber, wanting to rule Mandalore? Does she become the bad guy, or does she just become the Mandalorian? She says to Grogu inside of that first trailer, you didn't think your dad was the only Mandalorian, did you? So I think she's going to have a lot more to do this season, and I'm excited for that. But we'll find out more with this trailer. The poster's great, and I was saying last night, again, to my wife when I was watching The Last of Us, Pedro Pascal's having a hell of a run. You look at the movie he did with Nicolas Cage, you look at Game of Thrones. He's done tons and tons of movies. He was the villain in Wonder Woman 84, which was a ridiculous movie, but he was still, nonetheless, he's getting these big roles. He was good in it. And then you've got what's the Nicolas Cage's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think. And The Last of Us is, I think, where he's really able to use all of his talent as a leading man. Like he was fantastic in the show last night. I mean, he really was. He was great. And I think with Mandalorian, there's been rumors, there's been a little displeased. And I don't know how true it is. It could be complete bullshit. From what he says, it's bullshit. But that he's been a little displeased. He's not. I mean, it's the easiest job for him. And I think this is what he has said on the record, is that it's horseshit that he's had any complaints about it, because it's the easiest job for him, because all he does is, voice the character. And he shows up sometimes in the suit, but for the most part, he's voicing the character, and he lends his voice to the character, and he does a great job as Din. But nonetheless, there's three people that make up Din, and I don't know. Either way, you right away, because of the star that Pedro Pascal is, you automatically think of him first, whether that's fair or not. So anyway, I was not a massive fan that they brought Grogu back right away. I wanted to, because the way that they ended season 2 was, hey, he's on his own, man. He's going out with Luke. He's gone. Him and Luke, they're training. And then they were like, well, we got to set up this thing for season 3 and let people know that they're back working together. So let's just take 2 episodes of Boba Fett and tell the story there. Disney wants to sell more toys, and they don't want us to lose the toy money, so we got to bring Grogu back. And they brought him back, which is fine. It's fine. I just think they did it a little too fast. But again, I haven't seen the series. It might work completely well for everything. I'm very curious to how this is all going to tie into the Ahsoka stuff. I'm curious how it's going to tie into the Skeleton Crew, because it does seem like it all plays in together. What do you guys think of that poster, though? Are you excited for The Mandalorian? It's still my favorite Star Wars TV series that they've done so far. I would put Mandalorian first, then Andor, but I will say, out of all the shows coming out, I'm still the most curious and most hopeful, and fingers crossed, for The Acolyte. To me, that's going to scratch all my Star Wars itches. There are other shows that scratch other people's Star Wars itches. The Acolyte is posed to scratch my Star Wars itches there. Could happen. I could be very satisfied, or I could be very disappointed. I don't know. But what do you guys think about Mandalorian? You excited about this trailer tonight? Are you going to be watching it? Do you care? Do you not care? What say you? Let's see. I'll do one more, and we'll call it a short day today. Critics' Choice Awards, man. Yeah, I know. I should have went. You guys, everyone's telling me you should have went. You had a chance to go. You didn't go. I know. I wanted to review The Last of Us last night. I wanted to do it. I'll go next year. I promise. But I didn't go this year. But I watched a lot of it, and there was a lot. I like what, you know what? It was funny, because before I even get into this, I don't know if you guys watched it last night, but at first they announced the best actor and the best supporting actress. And I can't remember who was up there, but they were like, okay, so they want you guys to both come up at the same time. And she was like, well, it's not my rules. It's their rules. And at first I'm like, that's kind of awkward. And then I went, wait a minute. It's brilliant. Let them give them their speeches, wrap it up. Let's go. Let's move. That's why it's not 50 hours long like Golden Globes were and all this stuff. Get them in, get them out. Thank you. Great. Out. Give you a little extra time because there's 2 of you. Gone. Love it. At first, I was like, I don't know. And then I thought about it. Brilliant. A little awkward. Takes them about 6 months to get through the audience. But that's okay. Like, moving through. As Perry went, and Perry's table sat right near Julia Roberts, guys. Yeah. Again. What are you going to do? I would have been sitting probably with Pauly Shore outside somewhere. Anyway, let's do it. Let's get into this. The Critics' Choice Awards. There was a lot of winners, and the question is, will it dictate? Now, I did vote. I'll tell you that. I did vote. But here are the winners. There's a lot of winners. This is the summary from Dark Horizons. Everything Everywhere All at Once took home the Best Picture award at the 28th Annual Critics' Choice Awards in Los Angeles. It had 14 nominations. It won 5. It won Best Director. It won Original Screenplay, Supporting Actor for Ke Huy Quan, and Best Editing. Brendan Fraser won Best Actor for The Whale. Cate Blanchett took Best Actress for Tar, which also landed Best Score. Angela Bassett won Best Supporting Actress for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which also won Best Costume Design. And Sarah Polley won Best Adapted Screenplay for Women Talking. Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery took the Best Comedy Film and Acting Ensemble Awards, RRR won Best Foreign Language Film and Song, and Del Toro's Pinocchio won Best Animated Film, while Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story, took Best Telemovie, and its star Daniel Radcliffe also won an acting honor for it. Top Gun Maverick, Best Cinematography, Babylon, Best Production Design, Avatar: The Way of Water, Best Visual Effects, Elvis. How does Avatar not win Best Visual Effects? Elvis, Best Makeup, Hair, and Gabriel LaBelle won Best Young Actor for his work in The Fabelmans. In terms of TV, Better Call Saul and its star Bob Odenkirk won Best Drama Series and Best Actor. In a drama, Abbott Elementary won Best Comedy Series, while The Dropout took Best Limited Series and an acting win for Amanda Seyfried. Pachinko won Best Foreign Language Series. Harley Quinn took Best Animated Series, and The Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, Best Talk Show. Other TV acting honors went to Zendaya for Euphoria, Jeremy Allen White, The Bear, Jean Smart, Hacks, Jennifer Coolidge, The White Lotus, Nancy Nash Betts, Monster, The Jeffrey Dahmer Story, Paul Walter Hauser, Schmoedown Competitor, Blackbird, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Abbott Elementary, Henry Winkler for Barry, and Giancarlo Esposito, speaking of The Mandalorian, for Better Call Saul. All right, so I know I need to see Better Call Saul and RRR. I know. Realistically, RRR is probably going to happen first. Remember, Breaking Bad, or maybe you don't remember. How the hell can I ask you to remember that? I don't know how long you've been watching me. But Breaking Bad I hadn't seen, and it was Jeremy Johns who kept telling me about the show, and everybody was talking about the show, and I was like, I'll get to it. And I wound up watching 4 seasons like that. Boom, 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 boom. And I'll probably wind up doing the same thing for Better Call Saul. Although with Breaking Bad, I had caught up. I think 5 was just about to start when I was watching, and now Better Call Saul is wrapped. So I will get into it. And a lot of times when certain shows win, I go, oh, come on. I can't say that about Better Call Saul. I didn't see it, and I assume it's awesome. Love Odenkirk. Love that whole universe. So by the time I watch Better Call Saul, I'll probably be like, yep, deserve to win. And Giancarlo Esposito winning anything, I'm on board. Absolutely. As far as the other awards go, I'm glad Paul Walter Hauser won. Everything Everywhere All at Once was, I mean, that's going to go back and forth with Banshees for the Oscars. I think it's going to go either way. And Fabelmans. Fabelmans is another one. But it's interesting to see what like critics and then overall how the Academy votes and how like other places, and then we're going to see different results, I'm sure, with SAG. Maybe not. We'll see. But I think the biggest pleasant surprise for me, and I will say that I voted for her, was Angela Bassett. She just won the Golden Globe, and now she won the Critics' Choice Award. And what does that mean for her choice, for her chances at the Oscars? Could she win? I don't want to gloat, but I remember when we were talking about it when this movie, when Black Panther: Wakanda Forever came out, and I said that Angela Bassett, in my review, I said Angela Bassett's performance was so good. I'm telling you, this is an award-nominated, if not winning performance. And some guy was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. He's like, LOL. She'll never be nominated. LOL. And I was like, you're wrong. You're wrong. That is a Oscar or at least an award-nominated performance for sure. Now, I didn't know how many she's going to win, but she's very powerful. I liked that movie. I didn't love it like a lot of other people did. I liked it. I loved her performance. Thought she was so good. And she's just so cool, man. I love Angela Bassett. Anyway, that's my show today. It's, little shorter. I want to ask you 2 things. Obviously, comment. That helps tremendously. And we try to get to 1,000 likes, 1,000 comments every time. That helps in the algorithm when you see these videos. Because what I've noticed is that I want to ask you this in the comment section. Comment with this, because sometimes I don't know what to comment. Sometimes then I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to answer it here. I posted, so people have been asking me. I posted a recent stand-up comedy clip of me from like Flappers, and I'll be back there on February 13th in Burbank. But I had this old clip of me from like, I don't know, it's like 2007 or something. And I had posted a clip, and I said, hey, would you want me to put this whole set? And I was like, post the whole set. So I posted the whole set. Now, if you're subscribed to the channel, did you see the notification? Even if you have notifications on, did you see that it was on there? I'm curious. Or did you say, I just don't want to watch this shit? Either way, whatever the answer is, comment and let me know. because I'm very curious. I'm very curious to know how YouTube is working there. And again, with the comments, let me know what stories you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to hear about. On Wednesday, we'll be back with Roxy and Brett. Thursday, we're going to be it'll be the Sith Council show, and Friday's Capes and Cows. I will be on Campy's show tomorrow, so check me out there on John's show. And that's it, guys. So thank you very much once again. I really appreciate you. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Please do that. Patreon.com/The Big Thing Show. And that's it. Thank you guys so very much. I always appreciate you. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.